Well, welcome to my lair. I know, you're welcome. The Charlie Greer podcast. What's that? Today, we're going to talk about the audition process. And I'm going to break this up because I've auditioned in, bands, uh, acting, and what else? Anyway, I'll think of it. Let's start with my first audition process, which was in bands. I was a teenager, uh, wanting to get in the band. Now I didn't have to audition. My first band in Tennessee when I was in high school, we just formed. And we were, a shitty band, cover band. I was 15. First time I played live, 15. And again, we were doing like "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" by Night Ranger, "Mr. Crowley" by Ozzy Osbourne. It was awesome. So yeah, that first band I didn't have to audition, and then once we split up, kind of the guitarist went to another band, this, that, and the other. Then I moved to Champaign-Urbana, and even though I was like more mature as a musician and already had played gigs and done this, that, and the other, they wanted me to audition. I'm fine, and everybody showed up. I mean, I saw this band play a talent show. And these are old friends of mine. I've known these people forever. Some of them are like brothers. You don't talk to them for a while, but when you do. So after school, we're gonna, they had it together. They rented a a storage unit with like a garage door. They let them rehearse. They had it all. Hey. And what I didn't know is they told like the whole school. So when I showed up, like everybody, I had to go through the crowd, and there was two bands. There was another band wanting a singer. And technically they had singers, but they were not getting along or whatnot. So I auditioned. I had to do "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin. Yeah, try it. And nailed it. Got the gig. The other band wanted me too, and I became friends. Again, I haven't seen a lot of these people in a while. You move on. But yeah, they're on my Facebook. And we. So it was nerve-wracking, man. I mean, you have to show up, just getting over that, the confidence level of like, you got to be in your mind, like, I'm going to do this. An audition process is not for the codependent, meaning you want approval from something. No. Everybody's doing that. No, just go in there and pull a James Dean. Like, I don't need you. You need me. And that's kind of how I did. I wasn't mean. I wouldn't, but I knew what I could do. And again, I got the gig. We started rehearsing and playing live. I was in the band for over a year, and then we split and formed another band. And, it was just both band. It's all good, and we did good. We both bands, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the success. I mean, just getting shit done. The follow through. We're not sitting around talking at a bar. We were go getters, man. I don't see that a lot in this younger. Maybe they are. Maybe these are. I don't know. But yeah, the audition process. Then I auditioned for. I've told about auditioning for. It was called The Project, but it turned into Velvet Revolver. I didn't physically. It was all over the phone, email, videotapes. This, send music. Blah. I never got to the point of getting actually in a room with those guys because I backed out. They wanted me to sign this huge, in perpetuity contract, which means forever. Nah. I auditioned for Uriah Heep. Didn't get that because I was too young, and those guys are road dogs. I mean, I met them. That was the audition, was to hang out and have beers. And I got it too. I just felt uncomfortable being around. I was 23 or 24 maybe. And these guys were already like maybe over 40. I'm 50s. I don't know. And they've done everything. It just didn't gel. And I think some of them were British. Anyway. I've auditioned for bands, when I used to teach, if I got to teaching vocal lessons, singing lessons, if someone was serious about being a band, if they got to a certain point, say they've been with me like 6 months, I'd say, look, go out find an ad on Craigslist or Recycler, whatever the hell it is, Facebook, and audition for a band. And don't even try to, just to get over that hump of the confidence. It's like to go audition for, the audition process is nerve-wracking. And usually what I found out, musicians kind of have attitudes, and some of the shitty musicians are the worst. Yes, yeah, this, you got to get over that. They're not going to be all chummy, even though they need someone, there's some people I've been in bands with that I could just never, it just never was, the chemistry was cool. But as far as like personal, like, hey, come on over, we're going to have dinner. They'd be looking at you like, what? I always tried to, but a lot of people aren't, they just don't. And some of those people were kind of, they had a small circle, but they, they had these friends, and they're only friends I had. I get it. It's not good or bad. It just is. And then when I moved to St. Louis in 94, I actually tried to quit. I was in love engineer, and I was like, I quit, and I moved away. But we had management out of Chicago, and so they'd already booked like damn near a year of gigs, and I'd had to pay the deposit, whatever it was. If I was like, no, it was even worse because I had to drive from St. Louis to Champaign, get to the band house. We still had the band house, and load up, and then take off. By then we were playing not that much in town. We were playing Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, Terre Haute, Indiana, wherever the hell we were going. It was worse. But I finished it off like end of 95, right at the end. I think the beginning of 95 is when we played our last gigs. Our last gig was in, I think, Danville or Terre Haute at a like a benefit in some huge hall for like a biker that had crashed or someone died. I don't remember. Okay, I was ossified drunk that night. I knew it was my last gig, so I was just, why not? It was a good gig. I mean, I wasn't, at the time I was a drinker, so it wasn't, I could perform. A lot of people there, good gig. Then after I moved to St. Louis, I started getting into my acting. I took acting classes, and part of the acting class was it was called acting for the camera. And part of that process was learning the audition process, which is nerve-wracking. And as good as I've gotten, I'm still not as good as auditions as I am as actually acting. And I haven't even done that much. I haven't done it in a while. My last film, and I don't think I'm in it because I quit the project, was in November of 2019, some like vampire movie. It was a shit show, so I just bowed out. Again, I was supposed to be performing. I was playing like this old bar dude, like musician guy, and then they cut scenes and this, that, and the other. And my call time was like 9 at night. I didn't get in front of the camera until 5 a.m. You just can't do that. I mean, I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. I mean, I'm inactive now, but you can't, there's union laws. You can't have me. Yeah. And then we all fresh at 5 a.m. We've been up all night listening to these people don't know what they're doing. But that audition process. So say if you're, in acting nowadays, there was like, most of it was like either Skype, Zoom. I was using LA Casting the last time. Most of the time I didn't have an agent. Sometimes I did. Sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I had two. Sometimes I did. Because I've auditioned every St. Louis, Nashville, LA. I've auditioned for bigger things that I never got. I auditioned for Open Range, which is a Kevin Costner. I was in a Kevin Costner movie for Love of Game, I think it's called, about baseball. I know Kevin Costner. He's actually a really cool guy. I mean, I don't know him good enough to be hanging out, but So I was in St. Louis. They got me a hotel in Nashville, and I thought I nailed it. I didn't get it. And then they were like, look, you're not mountain man enough. We need a bigger dude. And the part I was auditioning for was the guy, I forgot his name, but in the movie, he's the one that goes to town and gets beat up. So if you see that guy, he's a big old dude. I mean, I didn't get it. And I was even skinnier back then. I was like, man, can you put a prosthetic? I'll wear it. No, we want realism. So I got it. And they were cool about it. But so say you get, like my last audition process, it was for a commercial for Facebook, and it was a buyout. So it was going to take just a couple of days to shoot. I think it was like $75,000 buyout. And I had to learn that song, Walking in Memphis. Walking in Memphis. And not just learn it, you got to nail it. So, back, and I don't even like that song. I mean, maybe it's the greatest song in the world, but to me, it's just, and pardon me while I drink this coffee. So first I had to film myself and then email that to them. And they could say, learn any songs. At the time, they were just like, look, it's for Facebook, learn a song, sing a song, you got a slate, tell who you are. I'm like Charles Greer, whatever. And then do your song. And I did, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do something cool. I either did like a Johnny Thunder song, or I used to do a Pogues song. That kind of drink. Let me go, let me go. Yeah. Like, fuck it, man. And hey, they like, so I send it in, bam, they come back. Yeah, we want you to now learn this Walking in Memphis song. It's going to be in the commercial. And you're going to play. Then they gave me the sides of the lines you have to sing. So learn the song, the sides, and they give me like 5 days. So I just, hey, learn the sides. And they tell you also you're a shopper in a guitar store or something. You're looking at a guitar or whatever. So I had to learn that. Film that. And then they like that. So now you've got a callback. You got to meet at with the Facebook executives. There's not that many of you, and perform. And the director will be there and this and that. And I really, one of these days I'll do that. I don't really want to get into it. It's kind of like a casting couch situation. It was my last audition, basically. I was like, I'm done with this. And I nailed it. People didn't even show up with a guitar. They lied. They didn't even know the song. And when I didn't know this, when I went in there, when he saw what was going on, he was like, man, I've been here all day. Charlie's perfect for this. Why are we doing it? And nobody else is there. A bunch of con men, blah, blah, And as they're arguing, I'm literally packing up my guitar. I didn't say a word, walking out. But then they notice, they're like, where are you going? I'm like, I ain't got, And sometimes you don't know, like it'll be called the mystery project. And again, I play a song. So I did this Pogue song, like this Irish drinking. I forgot the name of it. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm getting old. Because I was just like, fuck it. They're just going to see me, who I am. I can't, I did it. Put it in there, get it. And oh my God, I got an email. This is genius. You're I can't tell you what's going on. I'm going to send it to, the higher ups, and we, get back to you. And then she's like, they liked it. They didn't see as much as I did, but they trust me. So you're the guy, but we can't really talk much. It's not, we got to do some pre-production, like in a theater. Like we're gonna do a lot of rehearsing before we shoot this, we get paid. And can you travel? I'm like, yeah. And so that goes on. I'm emailing this person. And she's like, and this happened within a couple of weeks, maybe a month. She's like, hey, it's been put on hold. Something come up, I'll get back to you. And then she emails me again, and she's like, yeah, just to let you know, like, don't hold your breath, but it's still kind of, but there's been some kind of, I don't know if they've lost the fun, whatever, but it's a Elton John product, like Elton John. I was like, Elton John, like, I fucking love Elton John. I mean, he was one of my dad's favorites. So I grew up, listening to Elton John. We played an Elton John song at my dad's funeral. I mean, I'm all about Elton John. So I was like, how can I meet out? I didn't say that, but I was like, oh my God. And she's like, we'll keep in touch. I never heard back. That was like 3 years ago, maybe. Some auditions, at the time I had like little clips from like student films, like a UCLA film or whatever. And I'd post them on wherever they were posted. A lot of times it's on the site. Sometimes it's on whatever it would, hey, there's a link. Look, and I'd get hired over the phone. Like I'd submit myself. I was using LA Casting at the time. It's a site you pay, whatever you can submit for auditions. Hey, I saw you in whatever it was. You're hired, and then I do another shitty 20-minute pilot or some kind of, they were all like, people that are going to film school. You never know who's the next Spielberg. So, and I had this one time my landlord, who was actually younger than me, he'd inherited money, he was going to UCLA. Yeah. And so, the film, he was old, he was in his 20s, but he went back to go to film school, whatever. And so he said, "Hey, I'm making this film. Can I see some of your?" I gave him, I emailed him. I was paying rent one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm making it." So I emailed him, and he's like, "Look, man, I know, I told you I'd have a part in the film, but I hired some friend. You get that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's all good." So I went about my day, forgot about it, and then it was at night. It was like at 8 or 9 at night. And I get a call from him. He's like, "Look, dude, oh my God, just got off this. We're shooting our film. My friend who I hired can't act, and it's not good. Can you, if I email you these sites, can you be ready at like 5 a.m, like 8 hours later?" Yeah, I'll pay you. And I'll pay you double, whatever. And I was living in Pasadena. It was in Pasadena. So I basically stayed up all night learning this. It wasn't much. It was like 5 scenes. And I'd been doing it for so long, so I show up, and I guess they didn't tell the guy, because I show up, I get in wardrobe, and he's like, "What, huh?" And then he pull him aside, and then he's, kind of awkward. You should have. And then he's like, "Well, can I stay around?" Like, "Well, you can have." He had a little small holding, and they had good food, for a small. It was, the tents and the nice burritos or whatever it was. So he hung around, which is even more nerve wracking. And we did that, finished it, and it won the like Bel Air Film Festival. I got to go to like the UCLA big screenings theater. I've never seen myself on such a big screen. They introduced us. And that's when I realized, like, man, I don't want these actors that don't want to watch themselves and don't want to be around. Like, I get it, man. I didn't like it. I thought I would. I thought, like, "Hey, yeah, everybody pat me on the back, sure." No, because it was all fake. And I left with like a stack of cards. Like, my pockets were full. "Oh, you're gonna be my next movie. You're gonna be my next. You're great. I want you perfect." Didn't hear. That's another thing. I didn't get any. I didn't get anything out of it. Besides, and that's called Halfway to Somewhere or something. You can IMDb it or whatever. And I think I play a character named Mike or something. But anyway, that process is tough. In the beginning, it is tough, especially you're in a room with all these, these casting people. The casting houses in Hollywood. There was one on like Highland and Fountain. I forgot the name of it, but it's been a casting place. They'll change names. And you'll see like bad girl casting, and you'll go in there, Again, a lot of auditions. In 2011 or 2012, I did like 103 auditions, and I think I got like 5. And they were all student films. Even though I auditioned for bigger, I auditioned for bigger things that year, I just didn't get them. That's another thing. A lot of wasted time. That's about like 2 a week. And you drive, I lived past driving into Hollywood, the gas, you need bottled water, it just gets expensive. So I see where people, I lost a lot of money that year. The longest process is I was up for this, it's called the Z Team. It was supposed to be a remake of the A Team or whatever. And that was in Paramount. And again, I had to go through the process, jumping callbacks. And then the last callback I went to was at Paramount. And by then, the security is, you have to go through metal detectors. My girlfriend at the time, who was an actress who'd been on Paramount, they wouldn't let her in. She threw a fit. I was just like, chill out, She grew up around Hollywood. I was like, nobody knows you. Come on. Wait for me. I get it. She didn't want to. And by then, at Paramount, they give you a map of like, and highlighted where you have to stay on this trail. Don't go walking around Paramount like you used to be able to. And I think they even maybe they gave me a beeper or something. I don't, but it was not as what it. And this was like thinking, when was this? Anyway, I went there. I had to do a multi auditioning, so they were doing a ensemble. So they wanted, okay, put him in with these people, then put her, switch around who's, and then they picked the group they liked, and they put us back, and that. And I thought I had it, how they were talking, how they were treating me when I left. And the one producer or whatever, she's like, stay by your phone. If you get a call within like a couple hours, you got it. So stay by your phone. So me and my girlfriend, we go home, we're on the porch at a patio area, got my guitar out, we're having beer, whatever. The phone rings. And it's them. It's like, well, not just yet, By then I knew I was their second choice. They're like, if we can't get that other, I was like, because people don't call. You're not going to get a call. They never call you and go, hey, you didn't get it. You just don't hear anything. Yeah, just another, you're almost, I can't say yeah, but I was just like, because this would have changed my life. Even if it didn't get picked up, it was a lot of money for me anyways, because I was like living in a bachelor apartment, like one room. I mean, and it was expensive. Your refrigerator is in the same, smaller than the room I am now, half as small. This small. It was 10 by 12 feet. Small. Like you could hardly walk, a converted garage apartment. Matter of fact, it turned out to be a legal dwelling. And anyway, but I didn't get it. They called me, we're all excited. I didn't get it. And I think it would have been like, it took a while to shoot, maybe a month to shoot or whatever. They're going to shoot a couple. And it was enough money to maybe live for half a year. But yeah, I didn't get it. And if you are that, the audition is just, sometimes you get your own. I'd go out and get like clothing that looked, I'd go to the thrift store or something, make it look more like the character. I was always off script or offline. I wouldn't go in there reading, looking down. No, I used to for years. I didn't, but I had to nail them. I'd be at these auditions and I would you can hear them. You don't see them, you can hear them doing good. Like, damn, man, he sounds real. Like, what? Why didn't I think of that? And I followed people. I was like, hey, what are you doing? How did you, a lot of people like, fuck you. People be like, hey, I'm studying with, one guy's like, I studied with Eric Morris. He's like the group. I started studying with Eric Morris. It was expensive. It was more than my rent at the time. But he taught me a lot, man. So yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It is, you're going to have, sometimes you'd have like 2 or 3 in a day. And you might have to wait. It might be, I've met people that turned out to be friends because if you're like, say me, 6'2", 180 pounds, certain age, you're going to see these same guys. Matter of fact, you're fighting over, parts. When I was in Bilbo the Clown, it was, it starred John Farley, Chris Farley's brother. And I play a father who's kind of a tough guy that beats him up at a birthday party. And it was supposed to be a pilot for Universal or something. I don't, we shot it. And then a while later, they're like, look, we got to do some pickup shots for the trailer, this, that. We can't afford John. But we can afford you. Will you do it? I'm like, what do you mean? That's John. He's like, well, we think you'll fit in the clown suit. And we got the clown wig and we'll shoot it from the back. So if you see the trailer for Bilbo the Clown, anytime when I from the back and I let go of the balloons, that's me instead of Hollywood magic. And you can tell the suit does it, the clown suit, I'm bigger, so it doesn't really tie. You can see the back, like it's just. So anything you see of from behind, that's me, not John. And they owe me money, even though you think, oh, it's Universal. It was really a professional kind of thing, and they never paid me. I'm owed like, I don't remember what it is, hundreds of dollars though, maybe about $500-700, who knows? Never got paid. And also the first day we were shooting, there was kids in the scene. So my scene, there was a boy, a son, he was my son. And then they have to have like a school for kids. They can only work like 4 hours. They build like a tent for a school. There's police there. They have teachers. But they had a really great holding, meaning all the food and all the craft services. And they had like a table of candy. And I saw these kids and I went over to one of the line producers I go, hey man, they're eating like all these Skittles and lollipop. Oh no, that'd be. So the kid that was supposed to play my son, got sick. His mouth was all purple from eating all it. And so they had to come up with who they had to change to it. So that it was there's a girl that now you have a daughter, so it happens like that. So, okay, now her name is, you change the name, about shooting an hour and just like, whatever, that kind of stuff happens. Even on like, again, this was really it wasn't, but it was professional. And that guy, I forgot the director's name. He was good. John was cool. John Farley. I liked how he kind of he breaks balls, kind of like plays around. Like, so they came up to me and I had to wear like a dirty wife beater. They're like, okay, get in your wife beater. So I go in, go to wardrobe. They put me on it and they put on the make whatever. And I have these jeans on and then something happened, like, the generator went out, whatever. So we have to stand around for like an hour for them to fix that or load, whatever happened. And John would come up to me and be like, yeah, man, yeah, you want to like strut around your tank top, show off your tattoo. Yeah, right. And I totally got it. I laughed. And when he saw me laugh, we kind of bond. He knew that, that's kind of how I am. Like that's like my grandfather's a World War II guy. Yeah, everybody had a nickname and son of a, but it was friendly. It's just like, yeah, I like John. He was cool. Didn't never mention anything about Chris Farley, his brother, and we hung out for like a day or two. Like but people did. I mean, people walk right up and like, wow, your brother died, huh? And he would look at me and be like, I had to walk away. Like, oh, fuck shit. Like, it's nerve-wracking, the process of auditioning. It's better to have like connections where it's like, hey, you're just juiced in, you show up, that sometimes that works. I've been on auditions where the casting are mean, rude, just don't know what they're doing and don't want to be there, but they're making a lot of money, but they have to be, and I start like, okay, go. And I'm like, well, you going to turn on the camera? Well, how do you know the camera's not on? Well, it's not plugged in. Cameras blink red when they're, what? Oh, wow. And then audition and yeah, he's rude, Get home that night, have the director call me like, Charles, I'm surprised you didn't even show up at your audition. Like, what do you mean show up? Yeah, I don't see you on the reel. I'm like, dude, I was there. I caught them not filming me. I had to have them turn on the camera. Obviously, they didn't like the way I looked. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. He goes, because nobody I'm interested in showed up. Matter of fact, he only sent me he said, nobody showed up. So I had my friends and my boyfriend and stuff audition because they're also actors. And he was pushing like his boyfriend. And it's just like, he couldn't believe it. He's like, man, I paid that guy $10,000 for one day's work to cast my film. $10,000 for one day. And that's what he did. Sending unusable, but he was so scared of this casting he didn't dare, And I think I don't know if he hired me or not. Maybe he did. Because I hope none of this stuff comes out. I mean, some of these short films I've did, because a lot of times the writing is not that good. Like, hey, let me do my own. Like, okay, you can do it how we want to do it, and then we'll give you your own. And there was like, oh wow, great chart, thank. And they go right back to, their takes they want. I've also had other actors like sabotage just to try to make themselves look better, but then they're not. I've seen directors who had friends that were other directors show up on the set and they do their little manipulative magic, sabotage. I heard the guy on the phone. Like I turned around the corner and he heard that I heard him. And then he kind of went after me. Like, if you hear, Charlie's a liar. I didn't even say anything. Like a lot of that. You would think it's like, man, be cool. What are you going to do? People are narcissists. They can't help themselves. Some days, though, those audition days are better than when you're on the set, because you're on the set, it's stressful. You got to work, whatever. And you got an audition day. It's like, hey, you're dreaming, imagination. Okay, come on, going into Hollywood, get off iced coffee, do. After later, get a falafel, have fun. And then you're waiting for, and it does, it. Every actor that I know has had a lot of auditions they don't get, even famous actors. And but then I had friends in Hollywood for decades that never got auditions. Never. They were extras and this, and they didn't never got in the SAG, never got in the union, which is Screen Actors Guild. So I was grateful. At least I'm going to auditions, at least I'm doing that process. And again, I haven't had to audition for anything. That was, maybe 10 years when I kind of quit performing. Well, actually in 2019, I did a year where I was, but not that much. Once I started teaching, I didn't perform live. I was teaching singing and vocal lessons and some acting lessons, but not, there's great acting instructors, but some actors would just show up and be like, can you teach? And I knew some breathing techniques, and, it's all in the eyes, what you don't do, pull it back, don't try to be anybody else. Just try to look natural. Like again, a lot of great actors or movie stars, because there's a difference. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger was a movie, or is. He's the same as I know, he's just never gonna, like some of those guys. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love Sylvester Stallone. I love Burt Reynolds. I like those movie star kind of, but I also love Daniel Day-Lewis and, Gary Oldman. I met Gary Oldman. I'll do a podcast about Gary. And it turned out his son's named Charlie. Everybody loves the Charlie, saying, hey, we hit it off. But granted, it was just like one of those, 15-minute kind of, I didn't ask him we were just talking like bros. Didn't say anything about, I'm an actor too, and you did none of that. Just being a cool dude. Just like, matter of fact, I treat him just like I treat anybody else. But he just happened to be Gary Oldman. And he appreciated that. I'll do a podcast with that. Cool dude. Real cool guy. So if you're out there doing the audition process, hang in there. Sometimes even the Zoom or the Skype auditions or whatever it is now are nerve-wracking, but it isn't as nerve-wracking as, say, you're driving to Chicago or you live in LA in the traffic and it takes all day and you got to take off work, whatever it is. Hang in there. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. I know it's brutal, but I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.